Let me tell you guys the story about how 4 months into the year, I found myself without a 5-star read. Yes, I found myself 4 months into the year with no 5-star read, and since all of my most anticipated and the most 5-star predictions I had of the year were all getting released in April, I decided to make a video seeing how many 5-star reads that I could find in one video. So today I am taking 4 books that came out in April that I knew were going to be rated highly, and we're going to see how many 5 stars I can find out of those 4 books. One of the books were a 5-star prediction and the rest of them were a 4-star prediction, so let's see what they end up being at the end. How many 5 stars can we find? I already started The Reappearance of Rachel Price, and I think I'm like halfway through the book right now, but I've just been having a hard time like actually sitting and physically reading it. Hasn't been grasping my attention, but it is a new release that I wanted to read for this video, so we're going to continue it. But I think I'm going to pick it up on audiobook. So with that being said, I want to thank today's sponsor, which is Audible. I talk about Audible just in the day-to-day, like in my videos. I talk about listening to audiobooks, and I'm always using Audible. To give you guys a quick rundown, if you guys don't know about Audible or how they work, Audible members get a full access to a growing selection of audiobooks, Audible originals, and podcasts. As an Audible member, you get 1 credit a month, and with that you get to choose from a wide range of a selection of audiobooks. They have like bestsellers, they have new releases, they have everything on there. Something that makes it good for anybody is that the Audible app is just so user-friendly. I use it in the car, at the gym, when I'm on walks. Like, I'm constantly able to use it. It's so easy to navigate. Everything is right there for you at your fingertips. Since right now I'm going to be listening to The Reappearance of Rachel Price, I wanted to tell you guys about specifically Audible's audiobooks for thrillers. If you are interested in looking at Audible's thrillers, they make it very easy for you. You can go to their thrillers catalog. Once you use the Audible platform, they kind of give you recommendations based off of your past listening, and I really like that too, because if I really enjoyed an audiobook that I listened to, I like that Audible makes it easy for me to find other audiobooks that I would enjoy and all in the same genre. Recently, I've been using Audible to listen to thrillers as audiobooks because I've just been preferring to listen to them that way. I feel like I like the way that the story is told via listening to an audiobook when it comes to thrillers specifically. The last time that I talked to you guys about Audible, I was listening to First Lie Wins, and I really enjoyed listening to audiobook of that one. I've also been listening to Listen for the Lie. I also listened to Just the Nicest Couple. In the past, I've listened to The Midnight Club, The Guest List, and so many different other thrillers that I look to Audible for. Also, something unique is that Audible has Audible originals for thrillers. The best part is that new members can try it free. You guys can just visit audible.com/destiny or text Destiny to 500-500 for your free trial of Audible. And thank you so much again to Audible for sponsoring today's video. I am going to start listening to The Reappearance of Rachel Price to continue the book, and I'm about to go to an appointment. So I'm definitely going to be listening to this while I'm just sitting back and not doing anything else. It's just an eyelash appointment. Okay, update on The Reappearance of Rachel Price. There's 50 chapters. I'm on chapter 47 right now. I listened to a little bit at my appointment yesterday, and then I just was at the gym. I just got back home. I listened to this while I did like 2 hours on the treadmill. From like chapter 37 on, this book has been crazy. My thing is that it took until chapter 37 for things to get crazy. Also, I will say I did pick up on the plot twists and the way that everything's unraveling, but I love that I was right. I feel like I'm an overthinker, so I can most of the time pick out where we're going with the storyline when something's mentioned in a weird way. Usually I can't with Holly Jackson stuff though, but maybe since I've read all of her books, I kind of feel like she has telltale signs if they're not outlandish. I feel like Five Survive, I really like that book, but I feel like the plot twist in that book was like super outlandish. I really like the way that we're going, and I have been on the edge of my seat. Like, even though I guessed what the plot twists were, the stuff that's been unraveling and happening the past few chapters literally has my jaw on the floor. So I'm on chapter 47 right now, so there's about this much left. This is a good book though. I've been having a good time reading it since I picked up the audiobook. I will say that my mood and thoughts towards the book completely changed after listening to the audiobook. My thoughts changed on it, so I'm going to listen to the last few chapters of this while I go downstairs and make breakfast and stuff. So I just finished the audiobook of The Reappearance of Rachel Price. Gotta take this bookmark out because I use it all the time, so I need to take this out and put it in Funny Story. I finally finished it. I've been reading this for about like a week now, and I told you guys in the last clip that the audiobook helped me get through it. I have been spending the last few like just moments just really trying to think through it, and honestly, even though this is towards the end of the month, usually by the time that I sit down and collect my thoughts for a wrap-up, sometimes thoughts change on a book. This is how I feel right now. If I were to put a rating on it, I would give it a 4. It's not a 5. I definitely think this book is way too long, especially in the middle and beginning parts of the book. It was just very dragged out, and I understand that we were trying to maybe put hints into the storyline in a way that didn't feel rushed. Like, I can understand why it was probably longer, but I still feel like I stand by what I said, that I don't feel like a thriller or mystery book should be over 350 pages, and this is like 400. I just felt like it was way too long. Like, I feel like we were dragging stuff out. There was a lot of the book, and the reasoning why I had a hard time getting through it was because nothing was happening. We were just reading about this girl, and I was like, okay, where do we go from here? Like, we knew that we were suspicious of something, but we weren't doing anything about it. Like, that type of thing where I just felt like the story was just dragging on a little bit. In the case of our main character, Belle, I found her so irritating and annoying. And the thing is that it's hard because I could understand why. Like, I understood why her character was the way that she was. It was just agitating to watch her go through these things and be just her attitude towards every single character in this book, whether it was justified or not. It was just hard to read. So many times she was also a reason why I would put down the book, was because I was like, this attitude is out of this world. She was just kind of insufferable for me. She annoyed me a lot, and like I said, I understand why her character was the way she was. I understand. It just still annoyed me. I did like it though. I would definitely always recommend it. I think that Holly Jackson is really good at what she does. I always say that I like recommending Holly Jackson books because even though they are technically young adult, they don't feel super young adult. Sometimes I feel like if you're picking up like a young adult thriller or mystery, they can kind of subdue things, or they can kind of like beat around the bush about it. Holly Jackson really does not hold back. Her descriptions, the way the characters interact with each other, the way that things are being talked about is reading more like adult, but it is a little bit subdued to get into that young adult category. I do think they're very twisty and turny and very entertaining. This one specifically, I couldn't rate it a 5 stars because there was a long haul where I kept on putting down the book and getting distracted. And I feel like in a thriller, that is a telltale sign, because you do need build up, but I'm talking about I was like over 100 pages in and I was still running into the same issue of like getting so distracted in a thriller. I feel like a really good thriller is one that you can't put down. Like, I feel like that's something that has to be in a thriller, that doesn't need to be a thing in all other books. 4 stars. Still really enjoyed it. Would absolutely recommend, but not a 5. Okay guys, it is time to sit down and cuddle up. I know how long I'm gonna stay up and read this. No, it is already like 10 o'clock at night. I have been tired all day. Yesterday, I thought this was an April Fool's prank, but it was not. I got an email like at 7, 8 o'clock last night, and I got the Wild Love Arc by Elsie Silver. This is one of my, of course it's in this video, it's one of my 5-star predictions. Definitely a 4 to a 5-star prediction, somewhere between there. So I'm very, very excited. I started reading like the first 3 pages at the gym today, but I was like, no, I need to be able to like fangirl in peace. So we're gonna do some light reading before bed. Yesterday, I could not find my Kindle. I got the email that I was getting the ARC, and then you had to send it to your Kindle because it was through NetGalley. I was like, oh my gosh, I've never done this before. I've never gotten an ARC. And then I was trying to find my Kindle and I couldn't find it. And then I gave up, and then I ended up getting it on the Kindle. I ended up getting it on my iPad, like on the Kindle app and everything. I kid you not. It's always somewhere hidden in plain sight. Do you guys want to know where it is? Because I still haven't picked it up from where I found it today. There are some pillows right here. It was just sitting underneath a pillow. Can your audiobooks be played on your Kindle? Why do my Audible titles show up? Confused. Why are we doing this? Can you just download so I can read it? Let's read it. Let's read it. Okay, time for me to turn my lights off and literally rot in my bed and read this until I fall asleep, until my eyes can no longer stay awake. Here we go. Chapter 1. the next day and I'm getting ready for the gym, and I wanted to tell you guys about my thoughts on Wild Love so far. I think I got to like 10% around there. Let me tell you guys that immediately, and I mean like immediately, when I started reading these characters and we get introduced to them and I've gotten a few chapters in their point of view, they are literally automatically some of my favorite. I think they are my favorite, like off the bat. Their personality, their banter, the way that she's even writing them seems different. Like it seems very different in the writing in a good way. And I was really enjoying it. The only reason I didn't get any further into the book is because I was literally so tired. Now I'm very short in the frame. I'm very excited to get back into it. I am about to go to the gym, so I'm taking my Kindle with me. But yes, so far I am really liking it. Guys, it is like a few days later. I've been slowly reading this book and just really taking it in, because I mean the whole entire point of today's video is to find a 5-star read. I've been trying to kind of just slowly take in my most anticipated books, because you can't read them for the first time again, and I feel like I've been coming to that realization that if I start feeling like I'm loving a book, I don't want, like, part of me wants to rush it and just sit down and binge it, but then the other part of me is like, you'll never read this for the first time again. Guys, I am 60% through Wild Love right now. I have been reading it every day at the gym. Well, no, I did it twice. I walk on the treadmill for close to 2 hours. So I bring my Kindle with me and I read for like an hour. Oh my gosh, guys, hands down, like hands down, my favorite Elsie Silver book. Period. The banter between the two of them, the chemistry is palpable off of the page. Their banter feels real. The history that you hear between them doesn't feel like that cheesy history thrown in there so that you feel like more emotionally invested in the characters and you believe their romance more. The timing of the relationship, the way that they know each other, like everything about it is just... Also, this book is about Willa's brother, and Willa's book was my favorite from the Chestnut Springs series, so I'm liking how it's kind of tying in more of their childhood in this one. I mean, I'm really loving it, and it also just makes me super excited for the rest of the books. Also, me and Isaac booked a cabin for the night, so that's where I'm at right now. So I wanted to update you guys because I am going to finish this today. So I just needed to update you guys before I did finish it, because it is so good and I could see it being a 5-star. Y'all, you guys are not gonna believe this. I just finished Wild Love, and I had to sit and just have literal brain rot time on TikTok afterwards, just to like, I've been reading this book for days. I told you guys in the last clip that I've been trying to kind of like span out my time of reading it because I was enjoying it so much. Ford, the man that you are, in the last book, Hopeless, I think that's like when he pops up, because he does this little cameo, you know, like to dip your toes in the water, to dip your little toes in the water, and he pops up and I was like, he's not giving. He's not giving. He gave. When I tell you guys that this book, Wild Love, 5-star. First 5-star of the year. Literally, I'm gonna start doing the freaking Macarena. Like, I literally can't. Oh my god. Okay, I'm gonna tell you guys, because this book is not out yet. When does it come out? Because this video is not going up until Funny Story's out and I've read it. Listen to me right now. The Chestnut Springs series for me was a 5-star series. I don't think I ever rated, or even when I talk about them now, like I obviously go on and on about the Chestnut Springs series, but I never, I think, rated like a singular book within that series a 5-star. The second book I always forget the names of them. But the second book was the closest that I got. I think that one was like a 4.5, 4.75, somewhere around there, which happens to be his sister's book. The whole entire series was a 5-star for me. Like, I love that series so much. Y'all, when I tell you how I was reading this at the gym, it was like the only free time I had within the last few days to read it. When I wasn't reading it, I was literally like, when can I get my stuff done? And when is the next time that I can pick up this book? If there were like offhand moments, I was picking up either my Kindle or my phone, whatever one it was, to pick this up and read it. Like if I was just sitting there, I was like, might as well start reading Wild Love. And I honestly don't feel like that with a lot of books. And if I do, it's mostly because I know I need to finish the book for a video. And this one I was like, might as well kick and giggle my feet at the gym. Y'all, do you want to know something embarrassing? I actually wasn't going to say this, but the other day I was on the treadmill, almost fell off the treadmill. I was giggling in front of everybody at the gym, and then I almost fall off of the treadmill. The banter between these two characters, there's like email exchanges, diary, callback. Elsie Silver, her writing in this one was like different. It almost reminds me of like how I always loved Emily Henry's books, and then I picked up Happy Place and the writing was different in a good way, where the previous writing's not bad, but this one just seemed like there was a major improvement and time was spent really fleshing out these characters. I think I said this earlier in another clip, but like the history between them feels real and genuine. And even like you guys know I hate the miscommunication that's in every single romance book, how there's always a third act conflict of sort. The way that this book handles that kind of third act conflict, whatever you want to call it, was so real for a relationship between two people who like love each other and aren't going to just like throw in the towel over little tiny situations, because I think that that's why I really hate that miscommunication, third act conflict, third act breakup, whatever you want to call it, towards the end that authors try to do. The way that this book was handled, oh my god, everything about it was perfection. I'm gripping my Kindle like this because I can't believe it's over. I'm so excited for the next book too. This book was so good, guys. If you haven't read Wild Love yet, please go pick it up. It is so good. My favorite Elsie Silver book by far. 5 stars. First 5-star of the year. In this video we already have 1 5-star read. Okay. I've gone on and on and on about this book releasing. I just made a TikTok about this. So this is your sign. If you're not following me on TikTok, I'm trying to just post on there more frequently. Guys, I'm about to go into a whole spiel about TikTok, and I just feel like you guys don't really care, so I'll keep that to myself. I just posted about how I was like, ooh, when I'm done with Wild Love, like I'm picking this one up next. I talked about in my April TBR video of how I was going to read this and how I'm just very excited for kind of like summery reads before we're in summertime, so I feel like that makes me super excited, and this was kind of giving me that vibe. So I go on my Bookstagram and I see that Abby Jimenez posts a reel, and it says like, me watching everybody go to pick up my book thinking they're getting like a lighthearted rom-com and they're about to be emotionally destroyed. No, because what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Like, you're gonna tell me this is going to emotionally destroy me? I've always said, y'all can't tell me that I have not said that Abby Jimenez's books serve rom-com, they serve banter, they serve chemistry. They are so good. She's quickly became one of my favorite authors. I talk about her every single time that I talk about favorite books, but I say that she serves with that plot of emotional. Like, she does always kind of have a more emotional plot. What do you mean? Let's see. I'm very scared. I'm excited. Wait, why am I about to cry? It says, this book is for my wonderful readers. I started writing just for me. I never thought it would go anywhere or that anyone would see it. Now I write for you. It's way better with company. Why is that so sweet? Okay. This book starting off with an "Am I the Asshole?" spread, like it's on Reddit. Oh man, am I the asshole for naming my ugly dog after my ex-best friend? Is this dog the ugly dog? This dog is so cute when I look at the cover. Oh my god, I forgot I was recording. I'm literally already like sucked into this book. Things have taken a turn for the worse. As in, I don't feel good. I just had some chicken noodle soup to hopefully make me feel better, but I don't know if you guys can tell. I look rough. The light in my eyes is gone. But I wanted to update you guys by saying that I can definitely see where this book is gonna get a little emotional. Abby Jimenez always in her books has, I feel like, the subplot that she distinctly briefly introduces, like kind of as soon as you meet the characters, you're introduced to this thing that they're either gonna have to deal with or that is a big thing in their life. It's gonna be a big kind of like subplot emotions wise. And this one was like right off the bat for both of them. It's feeling a lot more emotional, like we're focusing on the characters and not really the romance between the two. It's like we're learning about them distinctly away from each other, and then maybe we're gonna focus more in on them. I don't know what's gonna go on. I think I'm literally, yeah, I'm only 50 pages in, so we're still in the build-up of everything, but I know where the emotions are. Not me smiling. Oh my god. Not me literally smiling at words on a paper. Not me getting goosebumps at words on a paper. Not me sitting in a room alone. Why is this book so cute? Update time, guys. It's the next night. Still reading just for the summer. I'm almost done with it though. I have about this much of the book left. And here's the thing. When you pick up the hardcover and it's like longer, like not lengthwise but lengthwise, this way, not this way, and so I was like, I feel like this book is long. Like I felt like it was long. And then me and Isaac went to Barnes earlier and I picked up the book and realized like in the paperback actually how thick it is. But I am about 290 pages in. I think I probably have about like 25% of the book left. Should we play the game? Should we play the Sea of Destiny's Right game? Okay, so if I'm 290 pages in, let's go on my Goodreads. Where's my phone? Let's go. I'm 67% in, so close to 70. So we have about 33% of the book left, it seems. I haven't been really like updating with this book in my thoughts because I've been filming a phone exclusive reading vlog of this because it is my book club's book pick. So over on my Patreon, which is always linked down below if you guys are ever interested in going that route and seeing what I'm doing over there, I do like a full spoiler review, comprehensive review reading vlog over there. So I've just been really focusing on doing that. I do want to give you guys some of my thoughts. So I am really enjoying it. And here's something about myself that I kind of had to start understanding and taking a second. And I feel like this was brought on by multiple things. And the first one is that I had been seeing TikToks and it was like people saying, oh, we need more complex, you know, female characters. And I love a complex female main character. Then on the next slide it was like, but y'all could even handle her, and it was Nesta. And listen, I told you guys A Court of Silver Flames, one of my favorite books because of the character development of Nesta once we got to actually learn from her in her own point of view. But I definitely felt, you know, guilty of judging her and saying all these things, and I feel like I do that a lot. I'm very easy to be annoyed with a female main character if there's a certain quirk about her that I feel like I don't really like if I feel like that's not something that I would do. Like, okay, that's not the point. You're not reading to find yourself in every single book. Like, that's at least not what I'm doing. I am reading to get so many different people's stories and people who aren't just like me, because that's very important to read about people who aren't just like you to gain a deeper understanding of other people and how they work, even if that is through fiction, because it's representing so many different people. With this one, I feel like I started to do that a little bit because I would describe Emma, who is our female main character in this book. She's very forgiving. She has a very open heart. She's also very closed off. She's very understanding with people and likes to see things and kind of make excuses for people, go easy on people, you know, like be very kind of understanding with somebody's negative behavior and make excuses for it. But at the same time, she's very closed off. She doesn't attach herself to people easily. She has strong boundaries that you understand through her childhood and her history, but can get a little question marked in your brain as to why. And I found myself really for a second being like, I don't know how much I enjoy her, because our guy is literally golden retriever. He has things going on within his life, but he kind of takes it with stride, and he's just so charming, and he's a golden retriever, and he's this and he's that. And so I was really loving him, and I love their dynamic. But then we kind of would get to conversations about their relationship, you know, like stuff that's going on within the book, inner conflicts between the characters, or she's kind of has a boundary of a way that maybe she doesn't see life for herself and all of these things. And I found myself like being annoyed. And then I took a step back and I really started, you know, thinking to myself that this Emma is a complex main character. I feel the same way with her as I did with Harriet in Happy Place. Kind of similar, but not a whole lot, but kind of similarities, where I felt like that with Harriet at first, where I was like, oh, I don't know how much I love Harriet, and now you guys hear me talk about Happy Place as one of like my favorite books of all time. Sometimes I have to take myself out of it. You really understand all of the pieces that go into these characters, and these characters feel so extremely real. They almost feel entirely three-dimensional. This feels like real people, real stories. The chemistry is palpable. You can feel it off the page. The writing is exquisite. The banter between the two characters, the silliness mixed with the realness and the rawness and the emotional elements of the book. And also what is so refreshing is between these two main characters of just how there's such open and honesty and no miscommunication with each other. I just love it all in all. But something about it is that I've taken a second to really understand our main character, kind of understand the things and why she does what she does. And sometimes you really, before you judge a character and say these things, you have to see what the author has given you, because the author's fleshing out these characters. These things are there for a reason majority of the time. As I've sat and had my thoughts with it, I really do enjoy our main character. I enjoy both of them. I feel like they both represent different things of what's going on in their life and how they handle it differently, and how the other person can bring out different things within them for growth. And I really love it. And you know what? It's such a charming book. And like I said, chemistry is there. I'm smiling out loud over words on a paper, but also the subplots that are going on are delivering the emotions, okay? They're taking you there. You are invested. You're emotionally invested in these characters, which is really all you can ask for. I'm really, really loving it so far. I could also see this being a 5 stars. It really depends on how the rest of the story goes. Like I said, it has all of the elements to make a 5 star for me, so hoping we get that way. I just finished Just for the Summer, and I don't even need to think about it. Y'all, 5 stars. Can you believe this? I literally went 4 months into the year with no 5 stars, and now the first 2 books that I read this month are both 5 stars. It delivered. It like exceeded expectations. I was expecting like how Abby Jimenez usually does, you know, like serves the rom-com, but there's always emotional subplots. This one, I feel like we really focused on them kind of 50-50. It was so good. It came full circle. It was so sweet and tender, and I just loved the guy. I loved the girl. I loved how just well-rounded the characters were, and callbacks all throughout the story. And also, side note, this takes place in the same universe as Part of Your World and Yours Truly. I loved that as well because I love those books. This was just truly one of a kind. This was so good. I could go on and on about it. I am a little bit tired, so I feel like maybe it's not showcasing the 5-star energy that I feel in my heart. I just can't, it like exceeded everything that I thought. It was magnificent. I enjoyed every second of reading this book, and when I wasn't reading it, I was thinking about it. I will think about these characters for a long time. Whenever I rate a book 5 stars or really like hyper fixate and obsess over a book, I make a Pinterest board to go with it to kind of give visuals on what's going on. I just made one for Wild Love. I'm about to sit down with my iPad and make one for this book because it was absolutely amazing. I've talked so much about it, and I feel like I talked about it in length in the last clip, but it was just so good. The communication between the two characters, the honesty that we get, the banter, the silliness, the heartwarming moments, everything comes full circle. They're not scared to love each other. They're not scared to be there for each other. I absolutely loved it. Today is the day, guys. Emily Henry's release days should be a national bookish holiday because they are the highlight of my year. I went today and I just got home from picking this up. I was talking to the kind person that was checking me out at Barnes. They told me that they read this last night and that they really, really liked it. They personally love Book Lover. Like, that's their favorite. And I was like, are you an older sister? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like anybody who tells me that they love Book Lovers, it's because of the sister element that book brings. It could be something else. So far, with people who got ARCs and stuff, I feel like everybody was saying that this was their favorite Emily Henry, and also the vibe felt different. I'm scared. I'm scared for both of those statements. Do you want to know why? Because Happy Place is one of my favorite books of all time. I wasn't expecting it, and Emily Henry has been my favorite author for a while now. I really wasn't expecting Happy Place to blow me out of the water as that book did. But now I'm going in with the expectation of kind of holding it to Happy Place. Like, this is getting held up to Happy Place standards right now, and I don't know how it's going to compare. I don't know how it's gonna compare. Like, honestly, if I were to do a 5-star prediction, this was one of them for the year. I think my 5-star predictions were Crescent City 3, Taming 7, and what else? This book, and then I think I had like a few other ones that I thought that if I read them, they would be a 5-star. So far, I don't think any of them have been met. So that's awesome. I'm just saying all of this to say that I am very nervous to go into the book because I have such high expectations that I feel like I never went into an Emily Henry book with before. I definitely went into Happy Place being like, this is Emily Henry, she's my favorite author. Like, I'm expecting to love it, but I didn't expect it to be what it was. So I'm scared. It could still be a 5-star and just still not meet up with Happy Place, but still be a 5-star. This cover, I love the little spine of it. I am absolutely in love with it. I like am scared. I almost like, oh, this is the most beautiful shade of pink. Hi, hours later, and I'm just now reading this. And I'm trying to remember, what is the song that Gus is listening to? Is it All By Myself? I feel so tired that I don't want to get up, but if I didn't feel as tired, I would get up because I'm like, is this just an ongoing joke? Because wasn't it Gus? What is the song he's listening to out on the deck in Beach Read? 3 pages in. This is like, imagine the point of view of like, you know when you're reading like a childhood friends to lovers book and say like one of them has a significant other that you know ultimately that person's gonna have to break up with because they're gonna get with the love interest. This is like that person's point of view. Hi, I have to do this because it is almost 10 o'clock at night, but I'm on chapter 10. I am officially 100 pages. Do I look weird? I can't see, even though I have my glasses on. Officially 100 pages in. I'm trying to remember what I was gonna pick up the camera to say. Oh, do you guys think people fake date in real life? Like, when I read the fake dating trope, I'm always like, do people do this in real life? Do people fake date? Or is this just something that, like, as a romance reader, we've made up in our head? And who was the first person to do it? What classic novel used the fake dating trope? But anyway, honestly, nothing to write home about right now. Of course, I'm enjoying it, but nothing too special. But I do really like the guy. Oh, this is backlit. Hi, guys. Oh my gosh, am I gonna have to turn around to talk just YouTuber things, having to find lighting 54% through Funny Story right now. Oh my god, this is gonna sound... I don't feel like reading a hardback, so I'm reading it on my Kindle. I am so conflicted. Last night I got like 30, I think I got like 33% if we want to get super specific into the book, and I really had no inclination to pick it back up this morning. And then I had been on TikTok, and this TikTok came across my For You page. But basically, it was somebody saying that they just finished Funny Story and that they always wonder what it felt like to read a romance and not be like attracted at all to the male main character. And for some reason, when this person said this, it like clicked in my brain that that was one of the things that was going on with me in the beginning, was that I just was not attracted to the guy at all. I'm reading the book, and when Funny Story was first announced, I had read like the back of it. After that, I never, like, it kind of came out of my brain. I didn't want to think too much about it, so I didn't like know who the love interest was supposed to be or anything. And then when I was introduced to the love interest, I was kind of doing one of these. I was kind of looking around like, this is who the love interest is supposed to be. Okay. Don't really feel a whole lot for him, and we're literally 54% in, and he's doing nice, sweet things. Like, I do think the like acts of service and just like paying attention, but I feel like I don't know anything about him. I feel like I know nothing about him to be more than halfway through the book right now. And so it's hard to be behind a romance when I know nothing about the male main character. And the only reason I know anything about the female main character is because she's quite literally the point of view that we're in. So I would hope that we know stuff about her. Also, if you don't want to know the trope of the book, skip to this timestamp. If you don't want to know the trope, now that I'm giving them some time to skip. Okay, it's a fake dating trope. So I understand that within that you are gonna get the little like, oh, we're making, but it just feels like we're doing this relationship for the exes. It feels like there's nothing between the two main characters. Like, everything they do is in spite of the exes. They're not even saying that they have like a romantic inclination towards each other. I don't know, like, I just don't feel a chemistry between our two main characters. And we're 54% into the book. What territory am I in that I'm feeling this way? I don't know what reality I'm living in right now, but this doesn't feel like life. tired. Not just physically tired, which I guess we can add to the list, but I'm tired of every single 5-star prediction that I had for the year not being a 5-star. And here's the thing. I had a feeling when going into this, I'm pretty sure I prefaced it somewhere on the multiple forms of platforms that I take to yap on, that I was scared. I was scared for this release, that I was going to hold it to unrealistic standards, because Happy Place quite literally changed my life. And Emily Henry is my favorite author, still is my favorite author. And I want to start this by saying I don't dislike this book. This is not a bad book. I honestly, for me personally, in my taste, the way Emily Henry is able to geniusly, is that even a word? She's just able to craft writing and banter, not even just like talking about relationships, just like in friendship, and the way that she is able to grasp of friendships, parental relationships, and how that affects you as a person, and how that can affect friendships and relationships, how that dwindles down into everything, even in previous books of friendships and parental relationships and sibling relationships that I feel like are themes throughout every single one of her books. And also self-reflection, self-guidance, self-exploration is a theme that is in every single one of her books. Is something that I appreciate as somebody going through their 20s, and I feel like that is why I love Emily Henry, is because every year as I get older, I feel like there's a new thing that she talks about self-exploration wise in her books that hits a little bit harder for me as I get older. I do almost an annoying amount of times say that I feel that Emily Henry, her books are romance books. They're put in the romance shelf. Emily Henry is a romance writer. I've always said that to me they read more like we're focusing on, if we were to say, a literary fiction, and then there's a romance subplot. The subplot of romance is always strong. I feel like maybe they're even 50-50. Sometimes throughout the story, maybe the literary side plot is overtaking the romance, and then, probably for the last 10% of the book, the romance kind of takes you to the finish line still with the subplot going on. I just feel like you see on this cover how we're seeing all of her. Like, we're seeing her to the front and we're seeing the back of him. That is the imagery of how I feel like this book was. I feel like I knew very little about this guy, and I feel like he was not a full fleshed out character. Even his sister felt more prominent in the story than he did as a character, and he's very important. He is the main love interest. The ex-boyfriend felt more fully fleshed out like a character in the story than he did. I felt disconnected from the romance, so when going into a romance book, if you feel disconnected from the main love interest that you're supposed to be rooting for, it's kind of hard. I felt like we were focusing so much on the exes, and it didn't feel like the romance was real in any way. I really liked our main character's plot of her exploration of herself, self-exploration if you will, dependence on other people, and finding out who you are as a person. It's fine to have friends and good to have friends in a community and people you love, but like, who are you at the end of the day separated from these people? It was a storyline that I really liked, how we got into all of her stuff. At the end of the day, I didn't pick this up for it to be a literary fiction book. I picked this up for a romance. I am between right now. It's not a 5-star, if you can't tell. Imagine I said all of this and I was like, it's a 5-star. I do think that I'm between a 3 to a 3.5. I'm just gonna let it sit there. And that's where we're diving into the whole entire point of me making this video, to find 5-star reads, because I had been 4 months into the year. I had read a few of my anticipated releases. I think like one was Crescent City 3, and maybe there had been another one that I was super excited for. Quite a few littler ones that I didn't really necessarily expect to be 5 stars, but they still disappointed me. I went into this because in April, literally so many of my like 5-star predictions. We had Taming 7, Funny Story, although I think those were the only two that I expected to be 5 stars, but I had high hopes for Just for the Summer, The Rulebook, Wild Love, The Reappearance of Rachel Price. Like, those were ones that I anticipated being a 4 or above. It was really just like a bet on what it was going to be in between them. I will say that I didn't go into Wild Love or Just for the Summer thinking they were going to be a 5-star. I thought that they were going to be like a 4 to a 4.5. Sometimes it's the ones that you don't expect that get you. This conversation of like the 5-star predictions, I feel like maybe even messed me up a little bit, because I just feel like when you go into a book thinking that, sometimes these standards that you're holding for a book that doesn't even exist yet, and you're holding them to a piece of literary work that like has nothing to do with that one. It's kind of unfair. Oh, I'm so upset. I'm actually so upset that this was like a 3 to a 3.5. I'm gonna go watch some feel-good videos on YouTube and try to get over this.